IRIN is a humanitarian news service that reports on a wide range of issues that affect people in emergencies, people who are going through the hardest times of their lives.
It's really the world's leading source of humanitarian news and particularly analysis, almost the in-house organ for the humanitarian industry.
IRIN is a platform for discussion, for dialogue, for debate within the aid community about the best way forward, about best practices, about how to continually improve the international aid system.
Oftentimes, aid agencies can often find themselves working in isolation. And IRIN gives an opportunity for these aid agencies to share information with each other. And by working with IRIN, we can actually promote a lot of what these key issues and key messages are to a much broader international aid community.
I think IRIN essentially is about people. It's about looking at lives and livelihoods, how global and also local factors impact on their lives. It's about giving them a voice. It's to avoid that type of stereotyped coverage of people suffering. Is to empower them, give them agency, let them tell their stories.
When a crisis situation is evolving, IRIN is there every step of the way, not just giving blow-by-blow accounts, but basically working with the people, sharing their testimonies and getting people to know what situations they're going through and actually helping the needy to communicate their needs better.
Especially in forgotten crisis areas like the Democratic Republic of the Congo, like Yemen, these areas that for many years nobody cared about. And these are the places where IRIN focuses, where IRIN brings these stories that you wouldn't hear otherwise.
We are constantly on the ball where, the big news agencies might report on a big story and abandon it after a while. We continuously report on the issue as long as it remains an issue. And then afterwards on the recovery process and so on and so forth.
We're able to stick with that subject, and we're also able to look at it more analytically. And I think what's often missing is that analytical component to stories. It's very much stories are told in terms of events rather than processes. And I think what IRIN has is the ability to unpack those issues and to try and break down the reasons behind the tragedies we see.
In the humanitarian world, information is as important as giving people money or any other material aid that they might need. And I think over the years, we have created a niche as one of the most trusted sources of humanitarian information.
We have very autonomous desks working in the various regions of the Global South, and we also have a very strong film service and also a photographic unit.
We also work with a network of freelance correspondents across the regions we work in who are well attuned to what's going on in their countries in terms of humanitarian affairs and problems, and also the responses to those.
If IRIN didn't exist, we would be stuck in a place where only the sensational news was told about the big wars and the big disease outbreaks, and there was no follow-up, and therefore the policymakers and the people who need to know about these issues never really found out about them, and therefore these issues may never actually be dealt with.
For us, there is still the value and the importance of actually reporting from the ground, being there with your boots muddy, talking to people who are impacted by disaster, talking to people from the front lines of the humanitarian crisis. And I think few other people do that on a consistent basis. And I think if IRIN didn't exist, I don't know what would fill that void. I think it would be a tragic loss in terms of journalism.